Disclaimer: the following video content was created intentionally in a commentary style. This will not be the overall style of the documentary. Origins was primarily offline, and small parts that were online had no value to reenact. If you hear the tone, Panther would like to direct your attention for visual effects, since most of the video is a commentary over the game Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. This was added so you would not have to watch the gameplay, but multitask other activities if you would like. If you hear the tone, simply direct your attention back to the video for additional information worth watching. Panther would like your feedback, so please comment your thoughts down below. If you have any questions on the video, feel free to contact Panther through his gamertag located in the description box or in the comments section. I'm Dividable Halo, and thank you for your time.
I am a soldier. I've served my country for 20 years.
Bishop, you have 24 hours to retrieve that information.
But if I'm captured or killed, I know that nobody will come to rescue me.
We need to stop this war before it starts.
I won't even get a funeral.
Don't get caught, Fisher. We can't help you if you do.
Because the nation that I protect can never admit that I exist. So my death would go unremarked. My bones would go unclaimed. I don't know if that day will come. But I do know that it must not be today.
So why make a documentary? Us Panthers have a long history in this community, primarily myself. And the purpose I want to gain from this documentary is education. I want the community to sit back and be able to make an educated assumption about us and not just what rumors have spread around the community about us. We've been around for 5 years, or at least some of us have been around for 5 years, and there's a lot that's been done. A lot of information we've obtained, a lot of security we've done for clans, protection, and overall a burden. Not just a burden on the clans, but a burden on myself. And that's why I want to make this documentary, is to release that burden so that I can get out to the community and talk about what I did, why I did it, and in some aspects how I did it, to educate everybody here. Because the ideology in the community is that a Panther is a spy, and that's it. But Panthers were more than just a spy. Panthers were designed to be a jack of all trades. We were supposed to be commandos, military officers, communication officers, officers in general, an NCO. We were able to fit in any spot. We should have been able to be put in any scenario and adapt to it. If we were going to infiltrate a clan, and we had a situation to where we became a leadership role, such as an NCO or a non-commissioned officer, basically your drill instructor or a sergeant, or an officer, we needed to be able to fill those roles and do it correctly. This all began in second grade, 2002 and 2003, roughly within that time, when I was with a friend of mine, Max, and at the time, I was about 8 or 9 years old. I wasn't obviously that educated on anything militarily. I was a kid sitting inside on a warm, sunny day, like most of us do in the summer. So these Vipers were kind of a special force group. What they were intended to do was go into a Halo 2 matchmaking game and fight unconventionally and win. Hiding, sneaking around, using those type of tactics to complete a game and win. And that really inspired me to become more of a spy, along with obviously watching James Bond movies and playing Splinter Cell. Those things really inspired me to focus on intelligence. What is espionage? Well, the term that we looked up on Google was the practice of spying or use of spies, typically by governments to obtain political and military information. Spying, infiltration, eavesdropping, surveillance, reconnaissance, intelligence, undercover work, black operations, informal black ops, etc. There's a lot more terms in espionage that there are a lot to espionage than there is to any other specific group. So, for an example, for a competitive player, espionage is basically useless to a degree. A competitive player can look at his opposing team's gameplay from previous matches and obtain information that way. And in some aspects, that's espionage. Let's say you're playing a matchmaking game and you play with someone that you've already played with before. That is a use of espionage. You're using intelligence beforehand to apply it to a situation. So if you were in matchmaking and you were playing against these guys who were just complete garbage or just completely brutal, you can use your knowledge from the previous game or the previous engagement to your advantage. That itself is a part of espionage. However, what we did is we decided to take it to the next level. We made an agency, a group based on espionage for spying, infiltrating, assassinations, black operations, all that stuff, security, protection, to entertain ourselves on the game, and we all get entertainment through a different perspective. For example, some people play only the campaigns in games and won't touch the multiplayer. Some people will only play the multiplayer to the game, to the series. They'll play every matchmaking game possible, or they'll play the campaign and then only play matchmaking, and then they'll never play a custom game or hardly play a custom game. There's other people who only play custom games in the campaign and won't touch matchmaking because they're just not competitive. Those people are not competitive. They don't prefer to sit there and grind out matches and shooting one another. There's other people who enjoy the game by just doing things militarily, and a lot of people misunderstand why people play games and act like they're in the military. It's not so much that they're acting like in the military, it's more the fact that there's a structure there. You can go into a game with a group of friends and usually win a game through communication and coordination. You really don't see that too often besides other competitive teams. Competitive teams will have that drive to communicate with one another, but they don't have that relationship, I believe. They may care about one another to a degree, but overall, that other player can be replaced with a different player. They can swap out other players and replace them. In the military community, you really can't replace somebody. They may not be there anymore, and you may be able to fill that person's role, but that person himself cannot be replaced. Maybe someone you can put in there who's better or worse, but that person... We have this community here is very special because we don't have a community that is based on not knowing one another. Most communities don't really make contact with one another. Maybe the leaders do, maybe some guys who are driving to become a little bit more in the community. But overall, our community is very, very talkative with one another. We focus on talking and keeping in contact with one another. Through videos, through engine, through games, raids, we are very close to one another, and we're very lucky to have that. There are a lot of us who abuse that and have abused that, and that's just the way we are, and I'm sure there's people out there right now who are deciding that that's not them, but you may contribute to that whether you know it or not, and that it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Back to the main point on why this documentary is here, is to educate people in the community, to give the Panthers a voice that they never had. We were supposed to be quiet. Our objective was to not give away what we were doing. So when we had propaganda against us, the only thing we could do was turn a blind eye to it as much as we could. So this documentary is to voice not only my perspective and my opinion about the community and about what I've done, but to go through my career in this community and show people why I did what I did, why espionage was so crucial to this community, and I'm going to back up as much claims that I have with as much evidence as I have available. I'm going to go through and talk to other people that were in the community or that still are in the community. I'm going to have them tell part of my story so you can see that I'm not just making this up, that I'm trying to do everything that I can to show as much evidence as I can to all my claims. I've always been that type of person. If I expose something, I try to back it up with as much evidence as I possibly can. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start where it all began on Halo 2, where I was in this group. We were known as the Coaxian Empire. I was with mainly my friend and people he knew on Xbox. I became an LT. Basically all I did was that we played matchmaking and we fought in guerrilla warfare. We practiced unconventional tactics, and that goes from camping to ambushing to flanking, although that's not very unconventional, but doing it unconventionally to the point to where we would sneak around the enemy, let their lines cross us, and then engage while someone else created a distraction. Using those tactics, that itself became a huge push to see how effective it could be and how much we could use this in the future. One of the major factors that we had in developing the Panthers was starting up on Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory to be specific. Myself and Panther 260420, who's with me right now.
Hey.
Us two created the Panthers. On Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, they have a co-op mode. And we played primarily the first mission, the mansion mission, which you see here, over and over and over again. We had that thing mastered. And the video feed you're seeing now is not of our time playing that. We actually redid that recently to show you what we played and how we did it together. And this video feed is in no way on how we did it. We were kind of goofing off a little bit when we were making this. We had no idea where to go. It's been a very long time since we played, over 5 years since we last played it. So we were pretty rusty. On the plus side, we only had to do 2 takes.
Yeah.
We the first one on the training mission, what did we do?
There's a lot of figuring out controls.
Yeah, there was that. Almost killing me again.
Yeah.
But other than that, the Panthers were very much inspired by Splinter Cell. We wanted the group could not be, the Panther group could not be where it was without Splinter Cell. That was a huge factor. So we played this game all night. We'd play that one mission all night. And our objective in that game would be to not ever get caught. And it's not that we wouldn't rush through it. It's just that when doing it in the dark, midnight, whatever, it's very fun to take it seriously. It's very entertaining to where you can sit there and just like take things slow and enjoy the game that way. And that was one thing about Splinter Cell Chaos Theory that the other Splinter Cells, in my opinion, for what I've seen, do not capture in the right way. Even the newer one, Blacklist, it has those features, but it's not as it was in Chaos Theory.
Right.
Because in Blacklist, you can do an execution and you can stay undetected. In that game, if you got detected, you got detected, basically. There wasn't really a oh shit button where you can just mark people and you get caught, oh shit, execute them, alright, you're still good.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that back then. You either had to sneak around the enemy, knock them out, or kill them. There wasn't just this execute button. But the clan name, or the group name Panther, did not come from Splinter Cell. In fact, most people think that we got our name from Splinter Cell Conviction when a team of Splinter Cells drop in from a rooftop and call Sam Fisher Panther. That's actually more of a coincidence than anything, and more ironic, to be honest. We got the name when Double Agent was out. Chaos 3 was, we were playing Chaos 3. We knew Double Agent was out, and Double Agent was a completely different game. And Conviction was not even. Conviction did not have a trailer out when we came up with this name. And how we did it was, 26 had a cat.
Yep.
And this cat was a total bitch. Her name is Paige, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I just called her Kitty.
yeah. And this black cat, she was a Claude. right? I could have swore she was.
She eventually got declawed, but there was a long stretch where she was scratching everything.
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember that now. But when I was staying at 26's house, and we were playing Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and it was 2 a.m.
Yeah,
It was late. It was one of those late nights we're playing, Chaos Theory, and I'll walk out to grab a drink or get some fresh air or use the restroom, whatever, and this cat comes out and just paws the piss out of my leg. It just paws me and takes off. And I'm just like, I'm kind of laughing. It was kind of cute, like, wow, you're so ferocious without your claws. So I called her Panther, and we decided to use that for our Chaos 3 names. But we didn't go with Panther 13 and Panther 26. We went with Panther 1 and Panther 2. That was it. That was the extent of it.
Yep.
So we went to Halo 2. We liked the game. It was very fun to play. The campaign was obviously outstanding. I mean, the favorite campaign mission of all time is still Outskirts. That mission I've played so many times.
Yeah. I think the only problem with the campaign was that the ending was rushed.
Yeah. Well, the entire game was rushed.
Yeah.
They were trying to get that multiplayer.
Yeah, the brutes were added in very quickly.
Yeah. But what we did on Halo 2 is I kind of took back from what I learned from the Vipers. This unconventional warfare was the only thing I really knew. So we practiced in campaign right away. We practiced tactics, flanking, going together as a team. What we learned in Splinter Cell too. We applied what we knew worked. Working together as a team, doing a double envelopment, basically a pincer maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
The ideology behind that was the enemy can only shoot one of us. And if, in the event that, let's say for an example, Sang Healy were to shoot me, and if I'm even going to get 2 shots on him and take cover, then 26 would be able to finish him off.
Right.
So that was our maneuver. Or when we went into each room, we were basically arm lengths apart. If both of our arms were extended out, that was our tactic. We were basically that distance away from one another most of the time, unless we split up and tried to do a ambush tactic.
Yeah.
Which in Outskirts we all know the speed rush system where you can jump on rooftops. So that we applied that and it was very effective. But so on Halo 2, we decided, hey, it'd be kind of a good idea if we got more people into this and played Halo 2 with us. And at the time, we didn't even have our gamer tags as Panthers.
Nope.
It was General. I had General 130210.
Yeah.
What did you have?
Didn't I have like
110?
General? 110.
Yeah, because that was from the Halo Wars trailer. You get that. It was Spartan 110, I think, or
Spartan 11 Mega. Right?
Yeah, Spartan Team Omega. It was one. I don't know. I had 110 in there or something.
Yeah.
And we went with that. And then we had General 312. That was Cullen.
Was it?
Yeah, he was 312 or 321. No, 1321. I can't remember what his numbers were, but I knew
remember.
He had 3 digits as well.
Yeah.
Mine was. What was mine? It was. No, wasn't it? Was.
No, you didn't have that full number.
No, not yet. I don't remember what I had right away.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Initial one. My first gamer tag was Viper something, 53 something. But how I got the Panther 130210 number is actually kind of ironic. Because at the time it was the first General 130210, and that's what I had on Reach right away, was that gamer tag. And when I tried to apply more gold for live, my password got corrupted or got screwed up, and I couldn't remember what my password was. So when I had this General 130210 gamer tag, I do know I obtained that gamer tag through combining some numbers. We had Sergeant M. Hardy, which was Blaine, or Sergeant Hardy, or was it Cadet? I can't remember. He had a rank, and it was something Hardy.
Yeah.
We had you, which was General 110, and Cullen, who was General 312 or something like that.
Yeah.
I ended up looking at those numbers one day, and I wanted to make my numbers based on those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I came up to 130210.
Right.
And ironically, if you take that divided by my number, my 130210 number, that'll be my Viper gamer tag. Viper 53 something.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I really manipulated those numbers. And that's how I got 130210. And I don't know, it kind of stuck. I kind of went with it like, yeah, 130210, and then I don't know, I liked it.
Yeah.
So what we did on Halo 2 and LAN is that we are on LAN, basically a home connection to where it became myself, 26, General 312, Hardy, there was Colton,
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, and Cameron. There was a Cameron, they were both Indian. Daniel and Cameron were both Indian. And we went to elementary and middle school with them. It was elementary school at the time. And Cameron was the taller one, or not really taller one, but he had the shorter hair. And then Daniel had the longer hair, and he was kind of chubby. But we had two different teams.
Vaguely remember.
Yeah, they weren't that intelligent. We had two teams. We had Colton's team and my team. My team focused on custom games. We played a lot of custom games. We practiced a lot of tactics in those custom games. And the other team would focus on campaign and practicing teamwork and coordination and working together as a team to take down bigger targets. And at the time, it was more for fun. We were entertaining ourselves. It came down to the point where we got really into it, where we decided to switch the roles. So Colton's team, besides Colton, would come over to my place, which we lived right across the street from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And my team went over to Colton's house, and then we played that way.
Yeah.
And they learned what I was doing, and my team learned what Colton was doing. As for what they did over at Colton's house, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what you guys did over there. And it was only for one day.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of I don't know. It was a lot. It wasn't as focused.
I could see that.
It was much more about the actual like how you would play in a normal matchmaking game, as opposed to, actually devising a strategy on how to win.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like it was more along the lines of like how you'd play Call of Duty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had two different mindsets, Colton and I did. And I remember Colin, our General 312, came back one day, and he said he played online, and it was nothing that we were doing was what they were doing in matchmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that. I mean, I understood that what we were doing was not the typical gameplay.
Right.
And I was all right with that because I wanted this to be different. Because being predictable is a huge weakness. The thing about it, if your tactic, and most competitive people do this, is toss a grenade and pick them off as your shield's dropping. That's how Halo works.
Yeah.
That's a bullshit tactic.
Mm-hmm.
It's too predictable. It's too easy to get around. I wanted to devise something that was completely different. So it came down to a 1v1 between Cullen and I. He would use his tactics that he learned from being online, and then I would use the tactics that I knew. Well, obviously I won. I mean, you think about it. He's trying to run around trying to find me, and I'm sneaking around. I mean, I get the first shot on him most of the time.
Yeah.
And then it came down to pure skill, but by the time he even noticed where I was, that second battle rifle shot was already in his head.
Mm-hmm.
So he really didn't have a chance to really adapt to it and target me.
Right.
He got a few kills on me and stuff where I wasn't paying attention, but overall, I mean, I won.
Mm-hmm.
I won the game because of these tactics. I was using unconventional tactics with them. So what we did is I was extremely strict. I was extremely strict with you guys. And I remember making you guys do push-ups too.
Yeah.
Push-ups, sit-ups for, what was it? If you did something, that was ridiculous. If you guys mouthed off, did something stupid, didn't pay attention, it was like 10 push-ups. Or 10 sit-ups. Or whatever. And it was just, I wanted to develop that aspect of structure.
Mm-hmm.
That structure there was so important to me. I wanted a team that I could take anywhere and be able to adapt to anything. without any issues. We should be able to go into a situation and be like, I know what to do, without a second's hesitation on what to do. Yeah. It should just be analyze and go, work together as a team, and not say a word. That was the goal. We played a little bit of Halo 3. It wasn't much.
Right.
It wasn't until because when the 360 came out, I didn't get it right away.
Right.
At the time, we were extremely poor. I mean, I was. I didn't even have online. I at the time it was just all home connection, and it was hours upon hours just practicing some basic tactics.
Yeah.
I remember one tactic we had: distract one guy, lead him into a room, and two guys would sit there with a shotgun on each side of the door. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you walk through, you get blasted with two shotguns from both different angles.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember us practicing that a lot.
I remember sometimes we'd accidentally hit the guy on the other side.
Yeah. They try to shoot they try to shoot the target and end up killing one another.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of trial and error to see how this was going to work out. And I knew it could work. I just didn't know how to make it work at this time. On Halo 3, they had the new gadgets and stuff. Applying that to espionage was actually kind of interesting because we didn't use a lot of the gadgets. The main gadget that we used was Bubble Shield. Mm-hmm. That was the main one we used because that one I thought was probably the most effective out of everything.
Right. I
mean, the landmine was so easy to get around.
Yeah.
In
fact, you could crouch and walk on it.
Yeah, you could walk right on it and just not even die or anything. So obviously you didn't do that in a combat situation because that one shot that hits that mine, you're done. But it was definitely interesting for infiltration. Mm-hmm. If you need to get across the landmine, you just crouch right over that thing. And plus, you got off the radar too. Mm-hmm. The deployment cover was helpful, but not as helpful as the bubble shield.
Right.
The bubble shield was just so much more combat efficient. Mm-hmm. We had the regenerator that would regenerate your health. To me, that wasn't something that was practical. Yeah, for us.
It would. Yeah.
And as when we're doing these tactics, that thing just kind of telegraphed where we were. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anything, that bubble shield would give us more of a tactic either to get away or to re-engage on our own terms. Mm-hmm. What else was there? Was flare, which was helpful. Yeah. We tried using it for a actual flare, where you'd have you'd send a scout, and then he'd shoot the flare up in the air, and hopefully reinforcements would see that flare. Yeah. But in Halo 3, it didn't work like that.
No, it was more of like a flashbang sort of.
Yeah, it was like a really shitty flashbang. So
it would just blind everyone.
Yeah, so that didn't work. What else am I missing? There was the
it was
the little cannon man thing. You deployed it and it shot the gravity boost.
Oh yeah, the man cannon.
Something like that. I don't know. Yeah. That was really only useful to take out vehicles. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. But it was only temporary. Yeah. I mean, you deployed that and you had the vehicle fly over you, and you could use that to jump on something, but that was the extent of it, and it really wasn't that effective. There was radar jammer too. Yeah. That was almost useless.
Well, because if you're an active camo, which you couldn't actually have as a permanent power up, it was just around the map. So it was only useful when you had active camouflage.
I found it not even useful at all. I think it just telegraphed people's positions. Because with that, I mean, there's more of a proximity on it.
Oh yeah.
So when people can they can see those radar dots and be like, oh hey, something's going on over here.
Yeah, someone's here.
Yeah.
Plus, if you really paid attention, you could tell which one was the player.
I don't know that for Halo 3, to be honest, offhand. I can't remember. I know for Halo Reach that.
I remember figuring it out.
Really? Yeah, I remember for Halo Reach figuring that out, and that was very, very helpful.
There was the EMP one as well.
EMP, yeah. That was useful. Yeah. Because you think about it, if you had someone who's shooting at somebody, you could, 3 people, whatever, in a general area, you could toss that EMP right in the middle and just battle rifle them up or toss a grenade and
clean it. Also EMP vehicles as well. So
air vehicles, it was useful. Yeah. That one and the bubble shield. And if you combine the two, where you sit in there and you jump up and you deploy that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great tactic. But our Spartans, I mean, to be honest, I think my Spartan looked like a scout. I had scout armor, I think, or was that?
Yeah, you had scout.
Was it scout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know you had Mark 5 for a while because you were online on Halo 3.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was still offline.
Yeah.
And you got up to Rogue.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, because I remember
had Rogue for a bit.
I remember you getting to that level because it was you, me, and Cullen
Mm-hmm.
at your dad's house.
Yeah.
And I played Epic Sax Guy. No, Bird. The Bird is the word for like almost 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
Because that was the one with the I was the one playing music.
Yeah.
And you got Rogue then. Oh my god, there were so many long nights.
Yeah.
Doing shit like that.
But I think in the end I did get security.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
Yeah, both the shoulders and the head.
Yeah. That's one thing that you've always been kind of obsessed with was the biggest Panther. To be the largest like armored Panther. You had the biggest and bulkiest armor.
Yeah, it became more prevalent in Halo Reach because in Halo Reach we were playing as Spartan 3s instead of 2s, and I really liked how the Spartan 2s were bigger and more like less human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really liked that aspect, so yeah, I kind of wanted to make even though we were playing as Spartan 3s, you know, I really wanted my character to seem like, you know, he was more than human, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Reach finally came out, taking the ideas that we had from the LAN days where we were on Halo 2 and Halo 3, where it was just a couple of our friends on playing Xbox together and just doing these tactics and these kind of game nights where we were practicing tactics and becoming better and using that for our entertainment, we decided to make more of a online clan. When Reach came out, I believe we were all online at that point, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Reach came out, we were all online. We were I was probably more motivated than the rest of you guys to do this, since the reason I'm still in 5 years going on in this community. So I remember we were working on, we were in school, we were in high school, sophomore year.
Yep.
And we were in computer programming. And I don't know what you built because we were doing HTML.
Right.
We just finished up JavaScript, I think. Or was Basic.
I think we finished up Basic and then we did HTML.
Yeah. So we were and it wasn't that long. It was like a week.
Yeah.
A week or so doing HTML. And what did you do your project on, if you can remember, for HTML?
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah. I know I did mine on Third Delta. I created the worst possible website ever for a clan, and it was all custom.
Yeah.
The main thing that was in there was I didn't even have a background, to be honest. I had hyperlinks, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
It was a picture, and you click on the picture, and it takes you to a page.
Yeah.
And it was basically a roster. It was our roster of our members in Third Delta, which we had about 20 people there.
Yeah.
You, me, and Alex being the only three from the LAN days. Alex wasn't there initially.
Right.
But I had all these hyperlinks on this HTML page, and it just led to their Bungie.net profiles, because at the time, Bungie had control over Halo.
Yep.
And it was just the worst. I mean, it was a good idea, and I'd love to touch up on it again and go back, and knowing what I know now about all that stuff and going into some of that stuff would be pretty great to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I could probably read HTML or JavaScript, but I probably couldn't write it again.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if someone were to sit down and tell me what the code is about, and if I could read it, I pretty much could tell you what each thing would do.
Right.
But as for writing it again, there's just no way. I probably couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So at this time, we started actually obtaining Panthers, and I developed a algorithm that I thought was pretty good. It was good. No one cracked it.
Yeah.
The first algorithm, no one cracked. Someone got close, but he never cracked it. And it was supposed to be a way for us to organize our troops or agents, whatever. At the time, we weren't an agency. Third Delta was not an agency at this point.
Right.
Third Delta was a military clan.
Yeah.
We did not know what we wanted to do yet. We had that ideology from that guerrilla warfare on Halo 2 and Halo 3, but we did not have the thought. We did not think about putting this into a complete agency. It was just more of special forces. That would be the best thing I can describe. But we weren't even that good.
Yeah.
We were garbage.
Yeah.
We were terrible. The only thing that we usually did was riding around in active camouflage and really just had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
How we hardly even crouched. It's terrible. So the Third Delta was just, if anything, Third Delta was a learning experience. Yeah. We definitely learned a lot from it. We had 3 branches. Do you remember 3 branches?
Yeah. The Panthers,
yep.
Obviously.
Which did what?
They're like special forces, kind of.
Were you in the Panther branch?
No.
What were you in?
I was in the Hawks.
There you go, Hawks. And what was the last one?
Wolves.
Yep. Wolves, Hawks, and Panthers. Yeah. Wolves were our elite infantry, or quote-unquote elite infantry. Hawks was our pilots.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be used for basically rangers and pilots. They were used for primarily, they would get on top of objects and shoot down at the enemy using that tactic to their advantage, and they would use air support.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers, or Wolves, were elite infantry. It was mainly inspired to be quick and deadly. You should be able to engage your enemy and then move on to a different position and keep engaging and not really stay in one spot too long, but engage as a pack. You should be able to engage as a group and take down bigger targets. Like if they were to come across a Scorpion tank, they should have no issues with the momentum and keep everything fluent and moving the same. We never really did develop training for either branches. No. We spent, since that was the one that was mainly motivated in the group. Yeah. We had it was mainly Panthers that we focused on. I wanted to really get that Panther branch up. I wanted to be very good special forces and keep it strict. And how I was back on Halo 2 where it was push-ups and sit-ups, I had to find something different. Yeah. And initially it was crouching. We'd hold the crouch and you'd shoot off your rifle at them to make sure. And if it was the one that you just pressed, if you got shot, you would stand up. Right. It's just how the game worked. But if you had to hold the crouch and you were holding it in, if you got shot, you would stay crouched. That's how we knew. Mm-hmm. That, or if you had an automatic weapon or whatever in your hand and you press start to try to like sneak out of it. Well, if you had an automatic rifle and you press start, it would just unload ammunition. So that's another way you could tell if people were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing, right, or how it was instructed. So we had I don't remember how many people we had before we had our first I think it was just Ace and Envy and Comb.
And then Cameron came in later.
Yeah, that was later. Because we had Ace first. He was our first member.
Yep, he was.
And then I don't even know how we met. It probably had to be matchmaking.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then we had Envy and Comb, which Alex found on Red Dead Redemption. Yep. I don't know how that conversation went from playing cowboys to playing futuristic Spartans. But, well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's gaming. So I'm pretty sure what games you have, and I'm pretty sure Halo Reach came up. Anyways, they brought this Envy and Comb character to me, basically. And when it came down, I don't know how it came down to it, but Ace was in your branch right away. Yeah. He was in Hawk. Yeah. And Comb was in Wolves initially, because Panthers were, you had to be selected. Yeah. And they both wanted Panther. Yeah, they did. They both wanted to do the Panther thing. And Panthers were, at the time, supposed to be elite special forces. Obviously, at that point, I mean, it's still within the first couple months. I did not have training developed. I had no idea what I was going to do with it yet. Right. All I knew is I really wanted to implement the active camouflage into the group. So I decided to just wing this whole thing. We put Ace and Envy and Comb into the hangar and blocked out the hangar. And gave them 2 Magnums, and it was a 1v1 with Magnums. And whoever won was going to be in the Panther group. Yeah. And Envy and Comb ended up winning, and he ended up becoming Panther 39. And how the numbers worked is the first 2 digits out of your 6-digit number was your basically your call sign. For example, mine's 130210. I'm 13, and 26 is 260420. He's 26. Those were basically, and a lot of people confuse it. Those were basically our ID numbers and our social security numbers. Like, we had to memorize those numbers.
Yeah.
That was like drilled into your head, and it kind of just went with that. Like, hey, you need to know your numbers, and it stuck. The funny thing is that with the tryouts, it was just really just random. It was just, I had no idea what I was doing, because I was still like basically a noob. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the Panthers. I was still, I would have been what, 14? 12, 14?
In 2010?
2010? That would have been, what, 5 years ago? I would have been 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy shit. So I was 15 at the time.
Yeah.
When Halo Reach came out. Can you imagine that? I mean, we joke about it now, at least in clans that you're just a 14-year-old squeaker, 15-year-old squeaker, and I'm seeing them trying to develop the most crazy intelligence group ever. Or at the time we didn't know we were going to do intelligence, but I wanted to make this group that was intelligence or special forces, commandos basically. I remember we talked about making our maps.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we had the idea that it was supposed to be more like Third Echelon. From the game Splinter Cell. That's where that name comes from, is from Splinter Cell. That was that was a huge inspiration. And we wanted to make a headquarters. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that we could think, because they don't show the headquarters, we did not know what the Third Echelon headquarters looked like. So, I mean, it's New York. We assumed a skyscraper or some sort of tower. So we decided, I mean, we were called Third Delta at the time, so we just said, it's called Delta Tower. Yeah. And I know Alex started creating it, and we wanted those nooks and crannies, those little areas that people would overlook, because in the event that they would infiltrate or go into our building, our home field advantage was the fact that we were in active camouflage, or that we could go in active camouflage, and we could hide in these little nooks and crannies, these little blind spots to everybody else. We could flank them or envelop them or just ambush them if we needed to. Yeah. And believe it or not, when we got into the community, very heavily into the community, when we had our group Third Echelon, that was such a major advantage because people were so used to fighting on fire bases or fighting on castles or whatever. Right. You go into a Delta Tower, your training and your practicing those raids was for nothing. Yeah. I mean, it just did not help you because you're versing an enemy you have never fought before. And not just in that logical context, but the fact that you are fighting an enemy with a style that you haven't engaged in this way. Right. Yeah, you may run into a couple people in matchmaking who use active camouflage, but they weren't focused on active camouflage. Right. They were focused on either sprint or armor lock or jetpack. Those were the three main ones that I ran into in matchmaking, was those three. And every now and again you run into invade. But overall, our focus was active camouflage. And I'm not going to get too much into the training, but one thing we did practice with is spotting active camouflage. We did a lot of that. Yeah. One thing that we and this is more in Third Echelon that we did this. We had something called the dark tests, which was one of the make or break points to be a Panther. Yeah. Those who remember that, it was broken up into 4 different courses. Course 1 was in the hangar, and it had those special effects to where the entire map was like dark. It was to replicate night. Right. And you were given a shotgun and active camouflage with no shielding, or your shields wouldn't recharge. Right. Because what would happen is once you spawn back, you could see where those shields were. It defeated the purpose. Yeah. And killing someone with a shotgun was 1 point. Assassinations were like 5 or 10. So that was, and this wasn't just, oh hey, we're gonna do this one time and then the next day we'll start the next one. No, these dark tests were all in a row. Yeah. We had to schedule them to where everybody would be online, primarily on the weekends, and do all these dark tests. Yeah. initially I started doing them with some of the candidates or the applicants, or what we later called them as cubs. What we wanted to do is we wanted to just really focus on, if you're going to use this like using this weapon, you need to understand it completely. You need to be effective with this.
Right.
Not just in using it, but finding it. And that way, if someone tries to copy our tactics, they would still not be at our level. They could throw on active camouflage, and it would not help them. We would be able to spot them.
Yeah.
And that was the goal, and I think we captured that very well.
Yeah.
Even to the point where I remember Panther 23, Banana King.
Yeah.
We were playing a random survival game, infection game,
Mm-hmm.
and he was infected, not camouflage.
Yeah.
He must not have known who he was stalking, but I turned over and saw him right away.
Oh yeah.
And he was against the rock. He was trying to be all sneaky. I'm like, no, fuck you, I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very.
Yeah, you could spot it really quick after that.
Yeah, once you knew what to look for, it was very easy. It was almost impossible to hide from one another. You had to be good. You had to be very skilled with that camouflage to have fun with that.
And sometimes these tests would be an entire 24 hours
yeah,
straight.
Oh, yeah. That was the main make or break point. After we did the dark test, we had a 24-hour test where you had to stay up for 24 hours, and the logic behind that is because spotting after camouflage can already be sometimes annoying. Like trying to spot it. If you know if you're finding someone who's after camouflage, you can just look at the radar. But the thing is, with that, we disabled the radar to where you had to focus on finding the distortion in the walls or wherever the person was hiding.
Yeah.
But the 24-hour test, I've done that more than enough times. We had 22 Panthers. I didn't do it all the time because some of the Panthers didn't make it that far.
Right.
But the sleep deprivation was the key.
Oh man, yeah.
I made sure that you were tired and weak to where you were still doing this crap, this ridiculous hunt training. And think about it. It's one thing to stay up all night with your buddies and joke around and have a good time. It's another thing to do it while being silent and in active camouflage, hunting someone else in active camouflage who's being silent.
And everything's dark.
Everything's dark. Everything's silent. That was the point. It was supposed to be a challenge, and we've had a couple times. I think Cameron and maybe Combe passed out in the training.
Yeah, I remember. Combe did.
Yep, and we had to redo it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did the next day too.
I don't remember if I passed out or not, but I remember coming close.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's very tough to do that because it's. I mean, I can't do it now anymore.
No. I'm way too old for that.
Not only that is that my sleeping schedule relies around work.
Oh right, yeah.
So I mean, I had to get up at a certain time and do stuff, and then come back, and then it's at that point I'm just like, fuck it. But no, we were really lucky to do it back when we were younger, and we were kind of used to that too. Yeah. From staying up from Conviction, staying up playing Battlefront 2 or Battlefront, I mean, it was just a common thing for us. So when we did this Panther test, it really wasn't the hardest thing. Was just trying to entertain yourself. Yeah. I mean, you're thinking you're walking around in camouflage almost 24 hours. It's just boring as fuck. But I think it benefited those who passed it dramatically. Yeah. I mean, the Panthers that we had here initially were not skilled combatly. Right. Overall in combat, we were garbage.
Aside from Combe, he's always been a good player.
Sniper, marksman. He was never good at anything else, to be honest. You give him... Actually, believe it or not, Combe thrived the best towards the end of Third Echelon. Really? Yeah. That's where he really shined. And he just blended in. Combe just blended in with everybody else. He just blended in the group of the Panthers. Didn't do shit. Didn't do amazing. We all have our games where we do shit or we do really good. But he just overall blended in. He was a pretty good sniper. He was our best sniper. Right. But about that, the next thing that we had was the first alliance, which was the REF, the Reach Elite Forces, led by Caleb 10909. I do not have any pictures of him, unfortunately, but I remember how we got into the war. I was training 39, and he came into our map on Delta Tower 1. That was the only map that was created for us at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to watch us train. I didn't see a big issue with that at the time. Now, I would have been like, no, fuck you, get out. But at the time, I wanted to keep an alliance, I wanted to keep it healthy, and I understood that sometimes there's these situations, so be it. I told him not to go out and hemorrhage and stay up on where Delta Tower 1 is and just kind of watch. He didn't listen, didn't give a shit, and walked out there and got killed. I told 39 in the event that you get, he's in your way, kill him.
Yeah.
I don't care. He killed him twice. And then he said, if I get killed one more time, we will declare war. I'm just sitting there thinking like, fuck it, shot him, killed him. I just can't stand those type of cocky people who just sit there like, oh, I have authority over you, or I'm better than you. I mean, yeah, they outnumbered us, but they really made that mistake. Oh, when we got into that war, they had their base was set up in the hangar. Our outpost, if you want to call it that, was set up on the south side of Hemorrhage.
Yeah.
At the time, they didn't have they didn't do team raids. That was at the time. I don't know. They did do team raids. I lied. They did have team raids because I remember always spawning there, and they always spawn in their base.
Yeah.
So I came down to they had gosshogs up the fucking ass there.
Yeah, they did.
And we didn't know. We were like, holy fuck, this is ridiculous. Like, our tower was based on logic and theatricality and deception. Theirs was based on, fuck you, I'm going to shoot you with a goshawk.
Yeah.
It's just like, really? I remember, they only had like 2 guys on those goshawks, so. But they're goshawks. It did one falcon going up in that area. It doesn't take much to kill it.
Yeah.
And,
we did find ways around them, though.
Yeah, we did. We used their visibility to their disadvantage.
Yeah.
We'd either move close to the rocks near the waterfall and got right under their nose to where those goshawks could not shoot down at us.
Yeah.
Or we went all the way around the other side where the open water is and kept low.
Yeah.
Really low, and then use that
I always did that.
That pillar to our advantage. And I remember this was it was with their base. I ended up infiltrating it.
Mm-hmm.
And getting inside their armory and killing a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
And then I hid. They tried searching for me. They thought I just ended up dying off or whatever. I got killed or some shit like that. They didn't pay attention to me. So I came back and started firing at them again and started killing some more of them. I was really racking up the points, and I kept hiding in the same spot. It was like this little cranny, this little nook and cranny that they just overlooked every time. And I remember having active camouflage too, but I didn't use it. I did not use the active camouflage because it jams radar.
Yeah, they had radar. Yeah.
Exactly. So why would I? The point of invisibility was to not be seen.
Right.
If I was in a spot that they weren't looking at, why would I telegraph my presence by activating active camouflage? It didn't make any sense. Yeah. So I didn't. And then I don't know why I did this. This is probably the stupidest mistake that I did, but it worked out very well. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to get out of the base. And I asked for an evac. And Ace, one of our other pilots, was coming to get me. But they brought up a Scorpion and just blasted him out of the sky.
Yeah.
And I kind of like peeked out and saw that, and I'm like, well, shit. And I'm like, I'm still in here, and I need an evac. And I couldn't just go up there and kill a tank because I noticed they had a guy in a machine gun, or a mounted machine gun, right there. Yeah. So I have active camouflage, so I don't have sprint. So if I were to even walk up to this fucking thing, this Scorpion, they're gonna be like, oh hey, there he is. Yeah. Kill him. So I needed an evac, and 26 ended up grabbing a Falcon, flying low on the pillar side, going up just like we were doing to get in, and he came up and went straight past the Scorpion. The Scorpion missed his first shot, and as the Scorpion is turning, as soon as he said he was like coming in, I got up and ran out there or jogged since I didn't have sprint,
Right.
and jumped in right away, so he didn't lose his momentum, and we went all the way around the scorpion. So the scorpion's turning all the way around, like a 360 turn, trying to get a shot at us while his machine gun is shooting at us. And those, obviously machine gun's not going to do much to a falcon,
You're right.
at least for the duration that we were in there. But this scorpion is turning at 360 degrees, trying to get a shot at us, and we're already gone.
Yeah,
we just dropped down from the pillar and we just took off.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the best things ever for doing that, because it was so like nerve wracking. We're like,
Oh, yeah,
shit,
yeah.
we can't, hopefully we won't die. It was
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah, that was some of the best flying I'd ever done.
Yeah, it was fun too. Back then, I mean, I know raids are really different now, but back then the raids was very fun,
Yeah.
because they actually gave you weaponry to fight with, not just hey, take it up the ass for 7 hours
Right.
and that's it. Because I don't, obviously you don't know this now, but I've seen a lot of gameplay where people will spawn with swords, and you can't shoot a sword,
Yeah.
and the other team is given like DMR and snipers,
Wow.
and not only that. Let's say you have the base in the south, their spawn on the south side of Hemorrhage.
Mhm.
They'll be given maybe some Covenant vehicles, not even a base. And the enemy team will have this whole fucking fire base.
Yeah.
And the minute you walk out there, you get shot.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm going to say one view that they were on the island, or Paradiso, and you spawn on the south side of Hemorrhage without a vehicle.
Yeah.
So you have to run from the south side of Hemorrhage to that island.
Just to get shot.
Just to get shot.
Yeah.
And if you backed out of the raid, you lost the raid.
Yeah.
That was bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's just complete another. That's just stupid. That's just. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How can you consider that a raid? That's just spawn killing.
Yeah.
It's spawn trapping. To be
Yeah,
honest.
basically.
It's stupid. It's not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're just sitting there. Regardless, it's a win-win for the team that's hosting it or that's defending, because you have to defend for no amount of time until you get bored.
Mm-hmm.
You get so bored that you're like, oh well, we won anyways.
Right.
Or the other team leaves the game, and it's considered a loss for them.
Right.
Regardless, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Back when we did raids in Third Delta, they gave us snipers. They
Yeah.
gave us Spartan lasers.
Yeah.
Falcons, Warthogs, Scorpions. It was legitimate warfare.
Yeah.
It came down to tactics and strategy.
Yeah. Basically.
And that was fun.
Yeah. It was literally they were defending a base and we were attacking.
Yeah.
It was as equal as you can get in that scenario.
Yeah, the only difference was they had a better looking base.
Yeah.
And maybe some more weaponry.
Yeah.
But the spawn times equaled it out.
Yeah.
You may not have 3 snipers, but you had better spawn time than they did.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make a difference. You may have 1 sniper, but they have 3. No big deal.
Yeah.
You get that sniper spawns back, so you can do more with it and whatever. And you can climb Alaska, you can climb Montana. I mean, actually, believe it or not, at the time Montana wasn't known to be climbed. Everybody can climb Alaska,
Right.
or could climb Alaska at that point, from what I understand. I know we did.
Yeah.
But Montana, we didn't know you can climb at the time. That wasn't until in the UN that we found that out. I remember that day too, because I had some of the rangers were trying to tell me how to climb Montana. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know how to climb it. But no, so the RAF they lost the war. We ended up dominating them actually.
Yeah.
You
were the one with the most kills, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah, that all the time actually. And Combe was a lot of help because he supported me in combat, and that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that supporting role.
Yeah.
You had fun with that with the heavy weaponry, the big armored out Panther or a Hawk with a fucking rocket launcher and a Spartan laser, or a rocket launcher, Spartan laser with a shotgun type of deal. You either have a shotgun with one of those 2 heavy weapons or both 2 heavy weapons.
Right.
And you were just like one like juggernaut type of deal, like a juggernaut Panther that just there's explosives, fuck, I'm in, let's do it, fuck it. So after we beat the REF, we received 3 recruits from that clan because Caleb 10909 was going to PC to play Minecraft with a lot of the clan with a lot of his members, and 3 people either didn't have PCs or did not want to do that, or for whatever reason asked to join Third Delta.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was a completely different time of that period, to where it was more like, I need members.
Right.
Sure. Now, if you beat a clan and met 3 members coming your way, you're like, bullshit, they're spies.
Right.
It's basically how it's been now.
Yeah. It was a simpler time.
Oh, it was. It was so easy too back then. It's so easy. So this guy, what was it? Shadow Hawk,
Yep.
Shadow Fox, and Jugger Bounty.
Jugger Bounty.
Jugger
Yep.
Bounty. They all came to us and wanted to be part of Third Delta. And like I said, simpler time. We were like, sure, why not? We ended up training them, and Shadow Hawk became Panther 520. I don't remember the rest of the numbers.
I don't remember either.
Maybe I can pull it up real quick and look at it.
Yeah.
No, I only have the 2 digits.
Ah.
But he was 52.
Yep.
Envy and Combe became Panther 39. It was U-26.
Mm-hmm.
And Jugger, he was actually our security guard.
Yeah, he didn't become a Panther until later.
Yeah. That was after Third Echelon ended.
Yeah.
We made him an official Panther. He was our security guard.
Yep.
And his responsibility was to wear armor lock,
Yep.
wear a shotgun, and I think a rocket launcher, and stand at the front door while we went out and trained.
Yeah.
And he did that.
He did.
For hours.
Yep.
We were training for 4 or 5 hours, and all he would do was sit there
Yep.
in armor lock.
Yeah.
Or not sitting in armor lock, but just standing by.
Yeah.
In the event that someone tried to join the game, he would be there to meet them with a shotgun and an armor lock with fully loaded grenades.
Yep.
And every now and again, I would sneak away from training. I'd sneak into the base or sneak by the base and throw a grenade on him. And he'd have to go in armor lock.
Yep.
That told me if he was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd do it randomly. It was never like, oh, hey, I'm coming after you. I made sure it was just like completely clandestine. Like, oh, I'm going to go sneak away real quick. And snuck inside the tower, the front entrance, and threw a grenade at him. I've only killed him twice. And he only wasn't paying attention twice. And one of the excuses was like, I just looked down at my phone for a second. I'm like, no, that's not an excuse. Yeah, I pay attention. Although that was the worst job ever. I cannot imagine sitting there for like 4 or 5 hours, just sitting there waiting for someone to not join the game.
Yeah.
No one's joined before. I think there was only one or 2 times where he actually was in use as a security guard.
Yeah.
It was still Third Delta, and we ran into the Revant Assassins, led by Cornwell, or Dr. Cornwell. And now he's in college, but he had this group of Revant Assassins, and they were basically like a Panther group. They were loyal to one another, and did what was right, and did what they could for one another, and did what was morally right.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a meeting with them, and someone joined, and this is way off from the timeline. I don't know if this was in Third Echelon or Third Delta, but some random people joined who he was at war with or was at conflict with, and we handled that tactically. And he was very impressed, and I was just sitting there like, this is just logic.
Yeah.
This is what you should do in a situation like this.
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of realized what I wanted to aim for, what I should be doing, is I should be aiming for practicing for scenarios. Someone joins the game, what do you do? We lose the base, what do you do?
Yeah, right.
We get overrun, what's your tactic, what's your move? What should you adapt to? How should you adapt to this?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I realized what kind of training I should be doing. Is not, I'm going to stand in a line for however long saying yes sir or no sir. I wanted to make training that was based on logic and scenarios. You run into a scorpion tank, or you're a scorpion tank in the field that's not on your side. What do? How do you engage it?
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing that really pushed me to do this. So at this point, we had, I don't know when Dakota 5 through 24 came into the picture. It's either a little bit after REF, before the Cone Clan, or after the Cone Clan. One of those two. But the next one is Cone Clan, which was our first rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
From what we know, this was our first time that we experienced assassinations.
Mm-hmm.
Where we actually obtained an assassination on the clan leader, and that was due to 39.
Yeah.
He found a secret entrance into the base.
Yeah.
They had developed this fire base all around the entire island of Paradiso. And at the time, I don't know what I was doing. The first raid I missed. It was a day raid.
Yeah.
Where the map was basically day.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that I went in was night.
Mm.
And he said this was a second version of their map. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I think I was there for the day one, but wasn't for the night.
Yeah, and I remember 39 found a way to break inside their base. And I'm like, fantastic. Well, let's do it. As for this rebellion, on why it started, it was because we took the game too seriously. Because we were military structured, and some of the members didn't like that. Which, I mean, it comes down to it's how you enjoy the game. So if you don't enjoy this, then why? I don't know. I didn't see the logic in starting a rebellion besides the activity and something to do.
Right.
The fact that they just made a rebellion was just, in my eyes, like, really? You couldn't just say, all right, this isn't for me, see ya.
Yeah.
They just had to do this rebellion. I can't remember who the leader was. Although it's at the tip of my tongue, too. I do remember what their emblem looks like.
Yeah.
It was like a cone, and it looked like it's like, I don't know, it looked like a little explosion, I think. It was the stupidest fucking clan. Their clan was based on having fun. And it was like a massive rebellion towards us. And we didn't really see it like that. We saw it as practice, if anything. Like,
right.
Now we know now we can get some practice in and see what we can do. But we ran into, we fought on their Delta, or not on Delta, but we fought on one of their maps, this Cone clan map. And no, actually, none of the bases we fought on actually had any cones in it. The 39 found this secret entrance in the back of the base, which was just poor forging.
Yeah.
They leveled out the wall, this entire wall coliseum that they had around the entire map, or the entire Paradiso Island. And what they didn't realize is since they leveled it all up compared to the top or whatever, to make the top look nice and smooth, the bottom, since there was a hill or some sort of like small hill, it literally created a gap just big enough for us to crouch through.
Yeah.
And we literally crouched in there, and then we started infiltrating. We started attacking them right inside their base.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was also on teams.
Yep.
Team raid. And the leader ended up going AFC for a little bit.
Yep.
And we broke inside, not just their area, but inside their actual base. Because it wasn't that protected.
Right.
Their main defense was that wall, and once we broke into that wall, they didn't have anything to really block anything off.
Right.
And I remember walking into one of the dry caves of Paradiso. I remember walking into one of the dry caves in Paradiso, and he was right there.
Yep.
AFC, and I'm like, oh, I could just shoot him with a grenade or shoot him, with a rifle or something, but I could also assassinate him because that's the thing here.
Yeah.
And I assassinated him, and I'm like, I should record that.
Yeah.
I could end this war. Bribe him or something.
Yeah.
And after I got the assassination, I mean, a couple minutes later, they ended the game and they kicked us from the lobby, and we went back. This would have been still my general account, because this is when I was still General 130210.
Yeah.
I wonder if I still have that on there.
Maybe.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Since I was using this other account, not the one that I'm using now, but I don't know if I recorded it. Or I know I went back and recorded it, but I don't know if I still have it. I'll have to check that.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up bribing that with him, saying that we'd post it in the file browser. As for the assassination of a clan leader, it's an embarrassing thing. And at the time, it was really embarrassing for that, or something you just didn't want. So he ended up calling off the war. But before that war got called off, we actually had to fight one of our own custom-made fire bases called Delta Cloud, which you guys can see here. Mm-hmm. It is literally a tactical fire base. It's designed for strategic advantages for us, but not in the same way that most people would actually develop their bases. Even to this date, I don't see these type of designs out. With these flanking positions here, we were able to cover that blind spot that we recognized from the REF. Yeah. It was in the same area in the hangar, but we knew those blind spots were there. Mm-hmm. And we decided to put these vehicles out here and cover them up, look like there were other rocks part of the map, and actually nobody noticed until we started firing at those positions.
Yeah.
Then we're like, oh shit, you know. So those were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We never lost Delta Cloud once. I can say that because it was completely overpowered. We had 6, I think I'm going off memory here, 5 or 6 Goshawk turrets.
Yeah, positioned kind of around the area,
Yep,
not specifically in the base.
Yeah, we had 2 on front of the base, connected by a bridge, and then we had 3 out in the field.
Yeah.
Or 2 out in the field, and then 1 sniper nest
Yeah.
with a head of rockets, Spartan laser, and a sniper.
Yeah.
That was hidden.
Yes.
It was concealed by rocks.
Yeah.
And a teleporter to get there and a teleporter to get back. No, I lied. It was a teleporter to get there, but you had to get picked up in a Falcon to get back.
Yeah, because they could get to those.
Base. Yep.
Yeah.
If they were to find it, once that position was open and realized that was there,
Yeah.
they could go to that position. If there was a 2-way teleporter there, then they can go back to our base. And
Yeah.
we didn't want that.
Yeah.
We wanted the only way to get inside the base was going through this blockade of clandestine vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Which were, tactically placed on the base. So
Right.
it was unique, and we never lost it. It got infiltrated, but they didn't get very far.
Right.
Because they fucking slammed a Falcon in there, which is pretty hilarious. Because we had that guard. The way we had it was there was one guard there with a grenade launcher and a rocket launcher.
Yep.
Who, if someone were to break in, he would grenade launch the Falcon, so it would hit the deck or hit the cement or metal, whatever.
Yeah, it would EMP it.
Yep, EMP it. You switch to rocket launcher, launch a couple rockets at it.
Yeah.
There we go, problem solved.
Yep.
And we didn't really have a problem with that. So it was very tactically planned out, but it was still very overpowered. We still gave him a lot of stuff. We gave him Scorpions, we gave him snipers, Spartan lasers. We gave him the whole 9 yards. We gave him a shit ton of Banshees too, as I recall. But that one was kind of overpowered. Even to now, I still wouldn't use that now. But it was definitely something interesting for our first fire base to be created. DDR, which was the next clan that we ran into. At this time, Cone Clan was done. Oh, before I get to that, there was Dakota 5-24.
Yeah.
Who we met in matchmaking, kind of. We had a member called Bullseye, who we nicknamed Bullshit, because his kid was literally like 9.
Yeah.
He was a kid, even to our age of being at 15, 14, 15, 16, whatever. This guy was like 8, and this is kind of the ideology that he had. At one point, while we were fighting on Delta Cloud, he was like, "The enemy is at 0.0536 meters," and we all kind of like stopped firing just for a couple of seconds and looked at him like, "Dude, that is like literally right in front of you. That is like right there." And they were about 10 meters. Those bounties were about 10 meters out, and we're just like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He was loyal, but he was unskilled and he was stupid. So we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But he recruited this guy, Dakota 5-24, who, out of the recruits that we brought in from him, showed the most promise.
Right.
He actually sounded like a human being.
Mm-hmm.
He had a voice that wasn't the size, or it wasn't the tone of a squeaker.
Yeah. He was actually older than us.
Yeah, he is.
By like a couple years.
Yeah. I don't know how old he was back then, but I remember in third echelon he was around 20.
Yeah.
But who quickly became, I guess what you can consider what we had in Third Delta, a NCO. He was a team leader. He helped with discipline.
Mm-hmm.
After
he quickly rose through the ranks.
Oh yeah, after being disciplined, he became someone to discipline.
Yeah.
I remember disciplining the living shit out of him. He was rough. He had potential, but he was rough around the edges. It was extremely. I guess when Bullseye found him, he like literally got his Xbox a week ago.
Oh wow!
And found him in matchmaking, which is hilarious because I guess he didn't like have any friends on Xbox yet.
Right.
But he quickly rose up to the ranks.
Yep.
Because he has something that I noticed along with the other guys that was there. He had common sense.
Mm.
And that was the most interesting factor that came in recruiting for Panthers, was common sense, because it's not common at all.
Right.
Most people are just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Most people in this community are just fucking stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And finding common sense was so rare. Even on Xbox, I'm like, this is a trait that I want. I want common sense.
Right.
I want people who are intelligent. And you hang around people who are intelligent, you become ever more intelligent yourself. You learn from one another. You push to be intelligent people.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot from that. So he had common sense. He quickly rose up through the ranks. Became an NCO. He wasn't a Panther right away though. He was a wolf.
Yeah.
Among everybody else who later became Panthers. But
yeah. And actually, he tried out to be in the first wave of Panthers, but
he failed.
Yeah.
He failed the dark test because his eyes hurt.
Yep.
Which was the point. The point was to make your eyes hurt. It was designed to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We designed some of this training to literally work against you in every aspect. Not only were you up late, were you playing in the dark while playing on a map that's basically fucking filtered out purple.
Yeah.
Or filtered purple, and you are trying to hunt something that's invisible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fucking headache to happen, or just a headache overall. So he quit.
Yeah, he quit.
He quit the Panthers round 1.
Yep.
But obviously, we were desperate for members. We needed people, and he had the ability to do it. He just bitched, and the bitching never stopped. It never stopped. And I'm not doing that to be mean, but in a way, I am. The bitching never stops.
He did complain a lot.
Yeah, out of everyone, he did complain the most.
Yeah.
I know that there wasn't actually a lot of drama with the Panthers.
No,
overall,
not really.
Overall, there was no drama.
No.
If there was an issue, it got brought up and dealt with.
Yeah.
And that was it. It dropped.
Yeah.
Maybe some tensions were held, but that was it.
There was none of that petty shit either.
Yeah.
It was just,
Because I was a dick.
Yeah.
I was an extreme dick to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, besides you and Alex, I was like in game.
Yeah.
I hardly talked. I just looked at them.
Yeah.
I looked at them, gave them the instructions. After that, I just stared at them. And I would disappear from time to time, just not even be there. They'd be practicing, and you guys would be over watching it, whatever. And every now and again, I'd come by, and they just fucking just try harder.
Yeah.
Because I was the best analogy I can kind of put into this was Gibbs from NCIS. That was a huge inspiration that I had for a character for this Panther thing, was because I wanted that mentality, that ability to walk into a room and everybody's like, shit,
Yeah.
fuck. But we ran into DDR. I can't remember how. I think it was in matchmaking.
It might have been, yeah.
We became an ally. I was working with what was it? DDR guitar guy.
Yeah.
I was working with him, and we were a close alliance. He had common sense, but he was a hick.
Oh, yeah.
He was just a straight up hick.
Yeah.
But he had enough common sense that I could tolerate him. But then there was DDR Punisher, who we now know as Panther 14, who he and I did not get along.
Yeah.
That alliance was good, and oh man, that was it bad. It was brutal. This is when we realized how clandestine operations can really affect a clan. I started using psychology against DDR Guitar Guy to get his own cousin, DDR Punisher, who helped found the clan with him, out of the clan. And I know Shadow Sniper 172 stated in his interview that, a clan will never end unless the leader ends it, which is true to a degree.
Right.
If you demoralize that group of people, or that foundation, or that person who leads the clan, you can end the clan.
Yeah.
And at least that's my opinion about it. The fact that, it is the leader's overall choice, but at the same time, you can really be a huge factor into that choice. But the DDR guitar guy, I don't know what happened. We had some fallout, and we got into it. We got into a war. I don't remember how it started, but I remember DDR Punisher being kicked out. At one point, he was able to come back after our war started, because I assumed they were desperate for members.
Right.
And desperate for combat.
Yeah.
They tried to take over Delta Cloud. It wasn't any help, obviously. The thing was just too tactically great, but at the same time, overpowered.
Yeah.
It was just, overall, it was overpowered.
Yeah.
But we ended up winning the war. As I remember that, too. We didn't win. We didn't lose a lot of wars, because, again, we were fighting a different style.
Right.
We weren't fighting the normal, it's conventional warfare. two armies running into one another and seeing who survives. It wasn't like that for us. We were doing unconventional stuff.
Right.
So, we won the war. We became an alliance again. But DDR Punisher, who fought against us on almost every battlefield that I can remember, he saw what we were able to do and saw what we did and wanted in.
Right.
And at the time, that's when I thought he could probably be a spy, because we didn't get along.
Right.
And the fact that we didn't get along was weird.
Right.
And I thought we can be mature about it, because you got to think beforehand, the only Panther that we had that wasn't from the enemy team was 39.
Yeah.
52, 24, and 17 were all on enemy teams.
Yes.
Which 17, which was Shadow Fox, who never became an actual Panther.
Right.
Because his excuse was he didn't want to change his gamer tag. So we...
Yeah.
And I wanted that gamer tag saved for him because I wanted to be said or noted that was his gamer tag.
Right.
That was his.
Yeah.
But that actually wasn't until a bit later that he became one.
Right.
Because at the time, the algorithm, the initial algorithm was you take my numbers times 2, times 3, and times 4.
Yeah.
And that would give you the Panther, those other Panther numbers. That would give you 39, no, it's 26, 39, 52.
Yeah, because there was originally the 4 of us.
Yep.
And
then I had to develop a whole new algorithm when 14 or DDR Punisher came into the picture.
because once you multiplied 13 or 130210 with 5 or higher, it wouldn't match the algorithm.
Exactly, it went out to some other random shit, and it was like
or it wouldn't match the pattern.
And we kind of stuck with the idea of having the 0 in the 3rd and 6th spot.
Yeah,
with the 0 in the 3rd spot, the 0 in the 3rd place, and in the last digit was also a 0.
Yeah,
and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah,
and it kind of just added more to what we were to become.
Yeah,
but that algorithm was too easy to beat. I mean, and also the fact that we were gaining more members, and we didn't have that algorithm wasn't going to fit.
Right.
So I had to create something completely new, which, oh my god, did I totally just cheat. The algorithm that we used from that point on to a certain degree, we took my numbers. If you take a calculator out, you can do this with me. You take 130210 plus 1100 or 1100, and you press equals, and you keep pressing that until you get to 140110. That's how we got that first number.
Yeah.
When the 0 was in the 3rd and 6th spot, that's how we got those numbers. So we press it again, and that will give you 17, and then 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20, I think maybe 20, let me look. There might have been 27. Nope. 28, 29, 31, 32, and then that was it for that algorithm.
Right.
Because there was another one that I created.
Right.
So that was just taking my numbers and adding 1100 to it was all we did. And we just spam the shit out of the equal sign until it was in the right digits.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was all the algorithm. And no one was able to figure that out.
Yeah.
Even 22 took that to a professor at his college, and he didn't know what it was. My best guess is that, I mean, it's I wouldn't really call it an algorithm. I'm just going off that because A, it sounds professional, and B, it is probably the only thing I can think of that fits that without being you just went in the calculator, typed 1100, spam the living shit on the equals button until you came with the number you liked.
Yeah.
So, but we used that, and it was actually really helpful.
Yeah.
14 became one of the most useful Panthers that we've had.
Yeah.
He ran a lot of operations, and that I'll cover in the future of this documentary. But he did an extraordinary amount of work.
Yeah.
After you retired, he became my second in command.
Yeah.
He was my secretary, my advisor, and a friend.
You know, even before I retired, he was already your left-hand man.
Yeah, he was. And I totally took advantage of this too. And you can't blame him for doing that. If we were in a raid, or not really a raid, but like we were in a combat situation, and I got an assassination on a leader, and we're about 2 hours into the raid before that assassination happened, I wouldn't go back there and get it. I'd make him go back and get the video feed, and I'd go in there and take the pictures after he got the video feed.
Oh my god.
We did that a lot in 3rd Echelon. I took so much advantage of him, and I don't regret it, but I feel bad for him
Yeah.
because even I didn't want to do that shit. That was just fucking annoying. But yeah, there was a lot that itself was. Oh, I need to show you those pictures I was telling you about.
Yeah.
He has not seen these pictures before. These are Third Delta pictures, and you guys will see these too. That he has not seen since Third Delta, or since we took these pictures in 2010. If I can find them on my computer, so bear with me. Okay, so Third Delta pictures. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
Oh.
So this was taken in. This was in 2011. This was on
Right.
Delta Tower. I don't know if this was Third Echelon or not. This may have been Third Echelon because Third Echelon started up in 2011.
Yeah, they were all wearing ODST armor. So.
Yeah, this is Delta. This must be Delta. Third Delta because we didn't. Because you can see some of the Panthers over here.
Actually,
that
it looks like
that looks like it's you right there with the blue,
yeah,
Alex
but
in the red, and Cole in the
uh,
green, the light green. Because
yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah.
He had a lighter shade of green because each Panther had their own color,
Right.
their own distinct color.
Yeah.
There's Dakota
Yeah.
because he had the commando.
Right.
So there was that picture. Here's another picture of that same shot.
Yeah.
That's definitely you.
Yeah.
That's definitely Dakota. I'm almost 100% sure that's Colm. As for these other guys, I looked at their gamer tags. They're just randoms now.
Oh really?
They're not even in the community.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that.
Huh.
There's Alex.
Yep.
You can see with the flaming helmet.
Yeah.
There's me with my back turned,
Yep.
wearing the an old Panther uniform,
Yeah.
a very outdated one.
Yeah.
As you can see, most of the guys are wearing, most of the Panthers are wearing operator, and we kind of kept that vibe.
Yeah.
Myself, JFO has always just been my helmet.
Right.
It just fits my character. Every time I tried getting away from JFO, it didn't fit.
Yeah.
JFO was my helmet.
Yeah.
It just fit so well.
Mhm.
Now this was a picture of training,
Mm.
of discipline training, where if you did not listen, you were shot and killed. And that's Combe
Yeah.
getting shot in the back by me.
Yeah.
Which I love how you can't even see my face on both the pictures so far.
Yeah.
My back's turned, and then this one, the smoke's covering up my face, which is
Pretty spooky.
It is kind of spooky. There it is.
Oh,
my
yep,
face.
there's-
JFO
there it
helmet.
is, yeah.
And this is like I said, this is outdated Panther gear that we had in 2011, and this was definitely in Third Delta.
Oh yeah. This is
This is
early.
yeah, because this would have been 210. That would have been in February,
Yeah.
which would have been just a couple months after.
Yeah. This is way before we had specialized armor.
Yep. And you have another line picture
Yeah.
here, and I think this next one is where we start getting to the older pictures. There we go.
Ooh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, that was fun.
So we have the first person in the red. That is Alex.
Yep.
And what he liked as gear.
Yeah.
He liked it as armor.
Yeah.
We have 26 in the front wearing the black and blue.
Yeah, blue.
As for the guy in the white, I think that might be Ace or Combe.
I don't know.
I'm sure it's Ace though.
I don't remember.
Or that could have been Blaine.
It could have
He
been.
was online at that time too. I honestly don't know. I should
I
probably
don't
look that up
remember. Yeah.
and see who that was. And then of course there's me wearing the scout armor, the black and green. Driving.
Yeah.
Yep. We have a couple of pictures of these too.
Oh yeah, that brings back memories.
Yeah, it was just I don't know why he was obsessed with that fire helmet or that fire thing.
Yeah.
I had it, but I didn't have it at the time. I only had.
Well, he bought he bought the legendary edition.
Yep. That's how he got it. Remember that? I don't know what we were trying to do with this.
I don't remember either. I think we were just screwing
We
around.
went in there with the intentions of doing training, and then one of us Alex found this, and
Yeah.
then we just completely got distracted.
Yeah.
And look at the date. This is in 10/16/10.
Oh,
That's 2010. That is like almost
that was like a few days or like
yeah, something like that.
or like yeah, it must have been maybe a week after it came out.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have Alex and I with these two snipers, and which
Yeah.
is kind of ironic because we have the Panther and you have the Wolf back there,
Yeah.
which is just kind of awesome. This is an
Ooh.
interesting picture. I actually really like this picture.
Yeah.
That's you running toward the Phantom, and it looks like a really badass picture. to be
It does
honest.
look really good.
Yeah, I really like that picture. There's us fucking around again, and that's the end of the Third Delta
Alright.
pictures. But you gotta admit, that's some good stuff. I do have a lot of pictures here, but look at all these pictures I have to go through, though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so much to go through.
Yeah.
before this is what I was talking about the USR.
Right.
Yeah, this was after. I'll get to this a little bit later, but this is
that me?
that's you right there.
Yeah,
That's you with the security in the black and yellow. This is when we had more customizable Panther gear.
Yeah.
You can see you here with the security. You have Dakota here with Gungner.
Yeah.
That's General Black there, from what I understand. Also known as Panther 18.
Right.
I think that's Cameron because he's got the pilot helmet.
Yeah, that's Cameron.
Over here, this is.
Who is that?
That might be 14. Yeah, Theater Punisher.
Yeah.
That was him. And then obviously me.
Yeah.
And this map was a Pentagon.
Yeah.
And we were aiming for something to be more of a military structured.
Right.
But so with that, that's basically the end of Third Delta overall before we met the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Which the United Nations we found by accident. Panther 52 went on YouTube. And found typed in Halo clans.
Right.
So we could make more allies, and found a Mr. General JB's recruitment video.
Yeah.
Who has been harassing me about this documentary. I can prove this to you with my phone.
You can prove it.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm going to find it real quick. Maybe I deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it.
Oh, sad.
He has been on my ass about this documentary, like, day in and day out. I gave him some sneak peeks of the trailers that I showed you.
Yeah.
2 that are out, and one that's currently not out. But, yeah, he's been on my ass about this. But we're going to... before we get into that, before we get into the end days of Third Delta, we're going to talk about your op that you did.
Yeah.
And this op is very important to the community because we all know someone who sprung out of this op, which was a huge controversy between me and Legling for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say anything because it was part of my operation that we were doing, or our op. It became a joint op.
Yeah.
Because
towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, because it was more of a security issue.
Mm-hmm.
There was this guy named Caboose Jr., who I can't remember how we made contact.
I don't remember either.
But he had this clan, and I didn't really see eye to eye.
Right.
But you had the opportunity to infiltrate.
Mm-hmm.
And you met this lovely person.
Oh, this person.
Who flirted with you.
Yes, it was very strange.
What was her name?
She was called Fun
XD.
XD.
Fun XD. At the time, it was Sponge Fun.
Yeah, which was...
It's SPJ Fun or something.
Whatever.
Yeah. I ended up saying Fun.
Yeah.
Because it flowed better.
Yeah.
And she ended up actually using this camera tag because I did not want to say Sponge Fun. It sounded so fucking stupid.
Yeah, it did.
So I kept calling her Fun. She got pretty upset about that. But she flirted with you a lot
did.
while you were on that op.
Yeah.
And I guess her and Caboose were dating.
I guess...
He was like...
He
was our age. And she was 13.
Yeah.
And they were dating on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And... Which is funny. But... She ended up liking you.
Yeah.
For some reason.
For some reason.
We don't know why.
I have no idea.
But... what happened was that she left Caboose's clan.
Yep.
And she joined our group, Third Delta.
Mm-hmm.
And she started liking me.
And that's when we realized that she's a spy.
To a degree, yeah, we realized something was off. A 13-year-old girl who just is liking everybody.
Yeah.
Especially people who have power. That's how we noticed it. Because when 26 infiltrated, he kind of surpassed everybody else because he had that Panther mentality.
Yeah, I rose up to his right-hand man very quickly.
Yeah. She had the thing for power. That's how we figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
And when we brought, or when, when 26 came back to Third Delta, he kind of left Fun there. But she ended up following him.
Yeah.
The Third Delta. And then for some reason she started liking me. Well, we kind of put that one together, and we knew from that point. Okay, she's probably a spy.
Yeah.
She's attracted to power. She sees that we have more of an ability than Caboose Jr., and she's latching onto that.
Yeah.
So we needed to kind of figure out a way to get her to confess, because at the time we didn't really know how to prosecute somebody like that. How do we
Right.
prove that?
Yeah.
So at the time, we didn't know what this was called, but we knew what we had to do, which was honeypot, which is what we know it as now.
Yeah.
Honeypot is probably the best in espionage.
Yeah.
Espionage is very dirty. It's a very dirty. It's very dirty work in espionage, but the honeypot is by far the cleanest, to a degree. It can get very brutal and very emotional if you don't do it right.
Yeah.
But for counterintelligence, we use the honeypot, which is seduction. Flirting and acting like it was this whole thing was going on was like legitimate was our key. And we were in a firefight match, and you ended up saving her from something.
Yeah.
In firefight.
Yeah.
While we were it was a custom firefight.
Yeah.
You either shot a grunt or killed the lead, or I don't know. It was a total sploosh, I guess. Sploosh moment. And she comes out and says, "I need to tell you guys something. I'm a spy." And we're all like, "Yes, we knew it." I mean, the entire 3rd Delta knew.
Oh yeah.
We all informed them
Yeah.
not to trust her. We think she's a spy. We just need to prove it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we all knew.
we all knew, and we were just like, and she was so upset.
And
about
we,
that.
we just acted like, it was a problem. We were all like, oh, Xbox girlfriend. Wow, what a...
It was
Yeah.
great. It was great. But we all called it out. We all knew it was like,
Yeah.
it was hilarious. Because at that moment we were like, this is great. We knew we were right.
Yeah.
But we just needed some sort of proof, which a confession obviously was that proof.
Yeah.
So that was hilarious. And that op was mainly intelligence, to be honest. I don't even think we assassinated. No, we did assassinate him later down the road, but not with your op. He went to a clan war with us because we ended up assassinating Fun.
Yeah.
Or 14 did.
Yeah, someone did.
14. 'Cause he didn't like her. He did not like her.
No.
He went to war with us too.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And I do remember a little something he did.
Well, do tell. This is all declassified. We're trying to declassify as much information as we can, so get it out.
So he was very mad that Fun came over to 3rd Delta. So he started sending her dick pics
Nice.
using his Connect.
Well, that solves that.
Yeah, he was a huge creep.
Oh yeah, by far. But
It was bad.
Yeah, I don't know where he is now. I don't have any pictures of him. Well, maybe I will on that other account.
But imagine this: a 16-year-old.
We don't know for sure, but
He was probably around our age at the time.
Teenager.
Yeah.
Older mid-teenager
Sending his penis to a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Imagine that for a second.
And that's love.
And yeah, that's love.
I love you, baby. Look at my erection.
Let's have phone sex.
That's basically what it turned into.
Yeah,
Probably.
Sending
voice messages over one another.
Yeah.
I love you. No, I love you more. No, I love you more. I'm pretty sure that's the extent. You remember watching that Sanity Not Included?
Yeah.
Where they had an Xbox Live date on Reflection,
Yeah.
and these guys are just fucking making fun of them.
Yeah.
I should pull a clip up with this because that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So the end of 3rd Delta was when we ran into the UN. We fought alongside the UN a lot.
Yeah.
Before we ended the clan, and it was, I want to say about a month that we fought alongside them. We were in a war. I don't know. Maybe it was with Caboose at the time.
Maybe.
It was towards the end, so maybe. What happened was that I remember the situation so well. We were in a fight, and that same day, the UN came and helped us, and we won.
Mm.
And that same day, later that day, they asked for our help in a war. And they were against TNG, from what I understand, the Next Generation.
Yeah.
That's who they were fighting. And I remember spawning with Cone, 37, and because there was only a limited amount of spaces. It was you, me, and 37.
Yeah.
And we went into that game, and the first thing that we did, which was just something you don't experience anymore, and which is very sad, and I miss it. When we spawned in, the first thing we did was walk up to one another. I walked up to General and Shadow Sniper while you guys were both on my flanks, and we talked.
Yeah.
While the UN guys were out there fighting the battle, we talked.
Yeah.
And you know, they welcomed me to welcome to the battlefield or whatever, and we discussed what the situation was, and we moved on from there.
Yeah.
We gave tactical command to Shadow Sniper and JB, primarily Shadow Sniper, had tactical command over the UN. I had command over you guys.
Yeah.
How I saw the future to the Panthers was in that battle. Because while they were giving call-outs, we said nothing.
Right.
My call-outs reflected on their call-outs.
Right.
So whatever they did, we supported through an espionage, or not really an espionage, but a special force aspect.
Right.
Which I thought was probably the most amazing thing I've ever experienced, because at that point, that was the point where I knew what we could become.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that, when I experienced that, I knew we had the ability to do something great. And not even about a month later, whatever, I talked about Operation Black Hole.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Shadow about it before I talked to the Delta members.
Right.
He was on board. He wanted us there. He saw how good we were and how loyal we were. I mean, it took us a long time to get in contact with the UN.
Right.
Even to talk with the goddamn guys. It took about a month. God's sake, it was ridiculous. And I spammed him pretty hardcore. I mean, I sent him about a message every other day to get in, or not to get in, but to talk. We became a very close ally, very very fast.
Yeah.
And I was nervous right away that they would think that I was a spy.
Mm.
Not that they would know anything about what we intended to do for the future of Third Delta.
Right.
Because we've already kind of developed. Third Delta was basically our beta clan.
Mm-hmm.
This was for us to see what we wanted to do throughout Halo.
Right.
And the fact that we met more military clans that day changed everything.
Yeah.
Back then, before we met the United Nations, everything was simple.
Yeah.
It was still simple when we understood how the community worked with the UN.
Right.
But it was a lot simpler without knowing that information. And
yeah.
I know, Cameron's told me this multiple times, or 52 has told me this multiple times, that he hated that day and hated doing that and regrets it because it destroyed Third Delta.
Yeah, it did.
And you have to understand, he was a kid.
Yeah.
He was young. He was so inspired what Third Delta was doing and the fact that we were winning these battles. He did not want to let that go, and I don't blame him. I really don't. It was something that you go with those wins, and through a way that you haven't. You're fighting a style that no one else has really combated yet. It's a good feeling to know that you're on the right side, or you're on a side that's winning.
Right.
Through legitimate tactics.
Right. Yeah.
So when we developed Operation Black Hole, which was to merge Third Delta, those who volunteered to go in the United Nations, and become part of the UN.
Mm-hmm.
And Shadow Sniper was on board for it.
Mm-hmm.
JB was on board for it.
Right.
But before that, right before that, the issue with the TNG was kind of coming to a ceasefire. And Third Delta, and I remember this too, it was very interesting, held basically a little peace summit,
yeah,
if you will, with the TNG members who were formerly called Venom or whatever, and the United Nations. We were a peacekeeper at that point.
Right.
We were the third party to help host a peace treaty between the United Nations, the clan that we all know and respect, and a war that they fought with the TNG, or the Next Generation, aka Venom. And Third Delta did this with the history you guys just heard of, where we did not know what we were doing.
Yeah.
We winged it.
Yeah.
Third Delta was nothing but a big trial and seeing what worked and what did not work. From the beginning, from Halo 2 to now was just pulling it out of our ass, seeing if it was going to work, and if it worked, then sweet. At the time, I had created some tactics that I understand them completely, but at the time I just developed them. I now, like, for example, the pincer movement that we know with two enemies going around the flanks, or double envelopment, I'd made that without even knowing what it was. I created military tactics without even knowing what they were at the time.
Right.
To me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
that I created a tactic that already existed without even knowing it existed. To me, that's just outstanding. I love the fact that I did that, and
Yeah.
I don't know why I did it.
Right.
But my main inspiration as a kid was the fact that when I used to play those little toy soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
the green ones, the green toy soldiers.
Yeah.
Or you'd have the gray ones too.
With the little stands beneath them so they can stand up.
Yeah. I would give the enemy most kids give themselves the big army and they'd versus the little army and whatever, or the less superior army and fight and win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did the opposite. I gave the enemy the advantage and give myself a small. Funny thing, I gave myself the coolest looking guys, but the lowest amount of them.
Right.
And I set up the enemy stuff tactically.
Yeah.
I'd have the mortar guys kind of somewhere in the middle, but surrounded, in the front of them, they'd have like infantry guys, barriers and stuff.
Right.
And I'd have this small group of guys, 5, 6 people, little green guys, and tactically and strategically place them in spots to engage the enemy.
Right.
And I did that, and that was probably one of the things that I guess psychologically was probably a huge advantage to making the Panthers.
Right.
But one more thing which is kind of interesting, when I was a kid too, my dad and I used to play chess all the time.
Yeah.
And he'd always win. Always win.
Yeah.
Until I won. Through a method that he didn't see coming. He wasn't so much the fact that I beat him, because we played for about a good month straight, and I always got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
But I kept getting better.
Right.
And my dad's pretty competitive.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
He was pretty competitive, and we were playing chess, and he may not have been paying attention completely to what we were doing, but I won through a way he had never seen before.
Yeah.
And he used to play a lot of chess. I'm not saying that I created a whole new way to beat chess. I'm just saying, in the situation that how we were playing, the way I won was the reason why he didn't want to play with me anymore. Because I was getting smarter, and I was understanding how he played chess. I was understanding the psychology of him when I was like 8. I mean, you understand, like when I was a kid, I didn't go outside a lot.
Right.
I mean, I was inside a lot with my sister.
Yeah.
And I taught myself I entertained myself through my imagination.
Right.
To the point where, you have these little magnets
Yeah.
that you put on the fridge that are like the alphabet, T or X or
Yeah.
whatever. When I was bored and then if I didn't have toys to play with or got tired of playing with them, I'd grab those magnets like a T and act like I was a fighter. I'd grab like an A and chase it around. And I'd imagine, and I don't know how kids do it these days because I'm not obviously in this generation of the youth, but
Right.
and I still am, but not that youth. I don't know how they imagine things anymore because you got to think about all the technology. Back then, I didn't have that.
Right.
Back then, it was my imagination, and I didn't read a lot of books. I mean, I was more curious on just imagining these massive space battles,
Mm-hmm.
these massive combat situations.
Yeah.
It was just all, to me, and it's probably the most weirdest thing ever for me because we see the action on the TV
Yeah.
or on the computer screen, but to see it in your head is outstanding
Yeah.
because you can, it's a whole new dimension, and you kind of lose focus of reality
Yeah.
when you're doing it. At least I did, where I didn't really know what was going around me, but when I was imagining these scenarios and imagining playing as a kid, it was like a whole new experience. Like I wasn't there, but I was creating what I wanted.
Right.
It was outstanding. But that by far was probably the best thing about Third Delta and about going through everything psychologically that helped set up what we were going to do next for just Third Echelon, but throughout the future career of Panthers and myself to, develop a 5-year career in espionage in this community and do something that not a lot of people did.
Right.
There were some copycat agencies that we ran into, and annoying as hell. Like we had Leglink and his little copycat group.
Yep.
Which I thought was hilarious. The kid didn't even play Splinter Cell. I looked at his bio, or I looked at his compared games.
Yeah.
He never even played the game once.
Wow.
He made a group called Splinter Cell, and it literally had the guys copy our gamer tags to a degree.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It's like you don't even understand where this is coming from and how this is applied.
He literally called the clan Splinter Cell.
It was the Splinter Cell clan, yeah.
Oh,
the stupidest thing ever. only other copycat, or not the only other, but another copycat of not really third echelon. I don't know. They claim that they were before third echelon, but until they can actually prove it, I say blow it out your ass. Because I can prove with pictures of when we started up. Yeah. If they can't prove that, then I don't know what to talk to you. Yeah. I don't know. I'm showing as much evidence as I can. You can sit there, and that's fine. If people want to sit there and call bullshit on my stories, that's fine. Yeah. I understand. I don't understand, actually, but I understand that people are sometimes just don't want to believe what they're told. Right. I get that. Whatever. Yeah. But I'm going to try to back this up with as much evidence as I can. But we ran into, you remember ShadowNet, I assume. They were very, very small at the time. Maybe. But I'm not going to get too much. I'll get into this later, but ShadowNet was actually, if you know anything from the Splinter Cell story, ShadowNet is a NSA type of deal in the Splinter Cell story. Yeah. And their agents were shit. I mean, I remember hearing every weekend of a ShadowNet agent getting caught. It was just like, really? Come on. You're killing me. And at this point, we already had third echelon up, but I'm not going to get into that. But Operation Black Hole, the end of Third Delta, was probably a huge change for everybody. Mm-hmm. Because that's when you retired. Yeah. You retired. Well, the first time. Yeah. You came back. Yeah. Came out of retirement to help out a little bit with V100. Yeah. But yeah, that operation did drive some people away. Oh yeah. I know 39. I think 39 joined. Mm-hmm. I know 52 joined. He reluctantly joined. Yeah. I remember he was really mad. I know 14 joined. Yeah. Jugger, he joined too. Yep. And then Dakota joined as well. He became a colonel. Although I cheated to those ranks. I'll get to that next. Yeah. Yeah, I cheated to those ranks. Yeah. I'll get to that. I'll get to the next part of the documentary. But this is a conclusion to the origins of Panthers, the origins of Third Delta, and overall myself, on what we tried, what we built, what we improvised on, and what we went with. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of it was just trial and error. We learned from our mistakes, and we have a lot more mistakes coming up too. Spartans. Yeah. Remember them? Remember them at all? I think so. Yeah. Where we decided to confront them on a whole military confrontation and got our asses whooped on our own fire base. Yeah. Yeah, that was stupid. I don't know what the fuck we were thinking. Yeah. We gave them. Yeah, we'll get into that coming up, but that's basically the end of this origin story.